the response really, just to the question, anything that you want to include. So what we'll do, we'll feel into our body and just connect with the awareness of what's there and what the body might need, whilst we're making some movements, some breathing, and so that we just become accustomed to tuning in and seeing what the body needs, how it needs to stretch. And you already know what benefits the body, otherwise you wouldn't be here. So you kind of know the effects of the yoga and qigong and whatever. So come down, lay on your back and bend your knees. And as you let go with your back, see if you can really let go and feel your hip bones. Just rock from side to side across your hip bones so that you can really feel the connection with the ground. And maybe lift your shoulder blades just up off away from the floor and then set them down again. And maybe you can even lengthen your back and set your back a little bit higher up towards the top of the mat. So it's already got a slight stretch, but not anything that's uncomfortable. Let your palms be open. And just notice in your mind's eye whether you think that your feet and knees and hips are pointing in the same direction. So that they're in a straight line, or do they feel a bit like one knee's collapsing or both knees are collapsing into the middle? And just see if you can take any tension out of your legs, that your feet, the soles of your feet, are supporting your whole leg really. So the soles of your feet and your hips are supporting those legs. Notice if you feel that there's balance between one side of the body, left side and right side. Or is there anything that you're feeling in one side that you're not feeling in the other side? Maybe a little holding away from the floor, a little tension, or maybe you're dealing with any pain, chronic pain, or tightness in the elbows or wrists or anything like that. Okay, so really fine-tuning your awareness, and then allow your head to roll from towards the right side, so just rolling across the back of your skull, turning towards so that your right ear comes towards the ground, and notice the subtle stretch that introduces into the back of your neck. And actually for you it might not be subtle, that might be a real like ouch, the feeling the muscles in the neck. Inhale, and as you exhale, just bringing your head up and rolling across the back, feeling the contact with the back of your skull, rolling to the other side. And how does it feel on the other side? And then on your own breath, just rolling through the center and across to the other side. We're going to do some movements where we just kind of start to open up and feel the change in the movement as we just start to stretch and find a comfortable way for the body to be in these positions. And the next time that your head is in the center, just pausing there taking hold of your elbows above your face, so your forearms are just there above your face, and your upper arms are straight, vertical. And then inhale, as you exhale, just letting that right elbow roll towards the right side. Notice what it takes with it. I notice I'm moving the right elbow, but I'm feeling it very much in the left shoulder. It won't quite reach the floor. So these are not errors or bad points or anything wrong. It's just really like, okay, there's the limit of my opening on this side. And then we're going to inhale back up to the center. And we're going to exhale over to the other side, taking the elbow in the direction of the floor. Notice where you feel that stretch. Can you take a breath in and just completely let go into that stretch? And then inhaling back up to the center. And exhale over to the other side. And this time the body and our mind kind of knows where we're going to. Notice if it's looking for anything, if it's looking for the elbow to touch the floor, or the pain in the left shoulder. So just being with whatever's here absolutely now in this moment. And perhaps as you exhale and just let the weight sink into your shoulders and into your arms, there's an extra gentle stretch. Take an inhale and exhale back up to the center. And across to the other side. Do you feel like it's changed already since the first time? Inhale back up to center. Take a pause there to recollect your breath. Inhale and exhale and drop your elbow over to the right side again. If you want to roll your head with it, just letting your head roll to look over towards your right elbow. And is there any possibility of touching the floor with that elbow and arm? That the stretch has just opened up so that you're able to rest the right arm on the floor. No problem if not. But maybe it just feels different than the first time. And inhale. Back up and exhale over to the other side. So we're just maybe moving through a little quicker. We're just feeling what's opened to make it change. Is it the muscles in the shoulders or across the back? Letting your head roll with it. So just making the movement on your breath. It doesn't matter whether you inhale or exhale, just allowing it to happen. And noticing that as you bring your awareness there, there's a big possibility of more space, of more expansion of the movement. And still just letting your head roll just as much as it wants to. Okay, the next time that your elbows are up above your face, then just letting them drop down by your sides and noticing if there's any change in your whole shoulder muscle. Okay, so from here, let's come into a twist. So open your arms out to the side, and maybe you could grab a cushion, a small cushion or a folded blanket. We'll just use that in case our arm is a long way off the floor. And in this position, so your feet are hip width apart, just let your knees drop over to the right side, and then let your head roll and look over to the opposite side to your knees. And here you could put the cushion, if your knees don't quite reach the floor, you could just put the cushion underneath there, just to see if you can support them a little bit and they can let go, even if they're not touching the floor. So inviting a gentle twist through the rib cage, through the belly. Inhale and exhale, and on the next inhale, bring your knees up to center and your head up to center. Feet land back on the floor. Take your cushion to the opposite side. And then inhale, as you exhale, you drop your knees over towards the left. And notice how far they are away from the floor or the cushion. You might want to fold the cushion or have a bigger cushion because it might just need a bit more support. Notice how support feels. Support is what's the word? It's a physical, but also an energetic. As a human being, we need support in different ways. So with your knees on that cushion, just look with your eyes over towards your right hand. So you're coming into a gentle twist. And then inhale, exhale, bring your knees up to center and your head back into the center. Relax your arms. And then again, just notice how your body is reacting to the movement. We're going to do a stretch that stretches kind of diagonally across our body and opens up our upper abdomen or our solar plexus. So helpful for digestion, helpful for, it's an area, an energy center that's involved with relating to other people, self-confidence. So stretch out your left leg and then take your right arm and stretch your right arm away. And see if you can stretch between the fingers of the right hand and the toes of the left foot. You can keep the other knee bent if you want to. So inhale, and on the exhale, stretching as far as you can away. If you were looking down from the sky, you'd see a diagonal line passing through the center of your body. And then release. We're going to do that 2 more times. So inhale, exhale, and stretch. And release. And the last time. Perhaps it's also stretching that diagonal across your back. Imagine from the shoulder blade, for example, to the hip bone. So stretching the muscles that run in different ways through the back. And then to come out of that stretch, just bend this arm. So we're not going to rush anywhere with the arm. And bend the opposite, bend the straight leg. And just bring this arm back and bring it into any position that it feels comfortable, so that you can just take a moment to feel into your body, sensing into how that diagonal stretch might have affected you. And then we're going to take the right leg, stretch the right leg away. We're being supported a bit by this, this other leg. And then we're going to stretch the arm up First, just finding our settled place. Inhale, and as you exhale, stretching away. Toes of the right foot, fingers of the left hand. Where is there on this line to open? Perhaps you're feeling it through your armpit, through your biceps, through your abdomen. And if there's any move that you need to make to help that stretch to happen, go ahead and make the stretch and then release it. Inhale, exhale, reach diagonal. Stretching the organs of your abdomen too. And release. And the last time. Inhale and exhale. And release. Okay, bringing this arm back very slowly. And then just bending your right knee. And notice if you feel balanced or if there's one part that's really calling out a little bit louder. Okay, and then roll yourself over onto your side. And come up to sitting, and already noticing where your energy's gone to, having been lay on the floor and doing some movements. And we've already been doing that a little bit, stretching and opening the ribs and the armpit. And in fact, it's what we were doing in the class before as well, a lot of side stretches through the ribs. It's a good way of releasing any negative energy or tension. So I just want to make a little bit of contact with our ribs. So just bring your fists underneath your arms and just start to give your ribs down the side like a washboard, a bit of a massage. So you feel where the bottom of the ribs are. And then work your way back up. It's hopefully you can make this position with your hands without being too uncomfortable. So we're going to kind of right down the seam of your jacket, just so right down the center. And we're just kind of just rubbing and a little bit of massage. Notice if there's any areas there that are slightly more sensitive, because you're going in between the intercostal muscles as well, the muscles of the ribs. They can get tight. They don't get so much attention as far as they might get a lot of stretching when we're gardening, when we're cleaning the house, doing other things, but maybe they don't get much massage, really, much soothing. And then just rest your hands down, just give your arms a shake out. And there's a point kind of between the armpit and the bottom of the ribs here, and it's about halfway. And if you just put your hand there, so opposite hand, it's roughly halfway. You might feel it's a bit more sensitive. It's a great spot to help your digestion, but also it can encourage breathing. So if you're breathing shallowly, can let you take a real deep breath. And it never hurts just to massage that sensitivity away. You can massage it in any way that feels good. So it might need really gentle, it might need a bit of a press. And of course, we didn't know that this sensitive point was on the side of our ribs until we put our fingers on it and started to massage. And I'm assuming that you can feel it, because I can't hear you with the microphone muted, but it generally can be quite sensitive on most people. So, and then just holding your hand there if that's possible, just across the front. And then letting that hand rest down. And again, noticing one side of your body compared to the other side of the body. Perhaps noticing a flow of energy, maybe also a little bit more space or relaxation on one side compared to the other. And of course we're going to do the other side. So reaching with the opposite hand, just finding your halfway point. And just finding you might need to go a little bit further to the back, somewhere there, until you can feel, because the acupressure points are not always in the same place on everybody. You could rest your other hand on top of your head. And this one might not be as sensitive. It could be that we've already stimulated the energy on the other side, so that this one's feeling a little relieved. They belong to the same energy channels. They belong to the spleen meridian. And then doing what feels good. So whether it's digging your fingers in or just gently rubbing. A bit of a combination of both. And then when you've done that, just holding your hand there. Perhaps it's brought a feeling of relaxation. Okay, and then letting your hands rest down. We're going to trace the top of the ribs at the front. So bringing your opposite hand and just feeling your collarbone. So there's a squashy bit in front, underneath it rather, and then just pressing up towards the bone, and just before the bone reaches your neck. Excuse me. There's a little squashy bit there, so just massaging in. So we're not on the ribs yet, we're just in between the collarbone and the ribs. And just giving that area a massage, also helpful for expanding your breathing. Let's say if you were recovering from flu or a virus or a cold, this would help you to encourage the breath to flow a little bit deeper. And then if you slide down more towards the middle, so I'll just come a bit closer. There's a point here, so it's kind of on the line of your neck, more in towards your breastbone, and just massaging that area there, and that can be quite sensitive too. Good point for releasing or stimulating energy in your body. Okay. And then just underneath there, we're not going to go down onto the breast, we avoid that, but just feeling your ribs here, just how far up they come, and if you separate your fingers out, you can feel the muscles, and sometimes they feel quite tight, those muscles around the ribs, and obviously they're not too far from the heart and lungs, so they're doing their job of protecting those very precious organs of the upper body. And maybe you're just rubbing across there and signing out any sound. Good. And then just letting your arm rest down, and let your eyes close for a moment, so you can just tune into right side and left side, any differences. And then we're going across to the opposite side. So we're going out slightly to the towards the shoulder, underneath the collarbone and the squashy part, just giving that a massage there. Maybe you find a muscle there that really wants a bit more attention. And then we're going to slide down underneath the collarbone there, still kind of above the ribs, just closer to the sternum. It's a point on the kidney channel. And as we find that point, again, your hands will be drawn to anywhere that's sensitive. So you might not be exactly on that point, but you're drawn to a point that needs a little bit of contact usually. And you could massage that in any way. I'm just using the back of my hand because it felt a bit pokey with my fingers. Okay, and then just leaving that area and just coming down onto the top of the ribs. Just to see if you can find the muscles in between the ribs and what happens if you press on it. So we're really getting to know our rib cage this morning. I don't know if any of you have had a broken rib. I haven't personally, but I believe it's extremely painful, especially when you try to breathe. Or breathe deeper, most likely. So, just feeling what feels good there in the muscles. All right, and then resting your hands down. Notice any expansion. And maybe we can just take a couple of deep breaths into what we've released there. So just resting your hands and breathing in through your nose, opening your lips, breathing out through your lips, and notice if that feels easy. Okay, and then releasing the breath. And we're going to come to the back, so the lumbar spine here, the curve here. And we're going to do a little bit of massage around the back of the ribs. So we can do that with as far as we can reach. And then perhaps the knuckles are useful because they kind of can slide in between the ribs, but it feels good as well to massage those big muscles there. So just underneath the ribs and just going onto the muscles, maybe in the arch, feeling the arch of your back. Perhaps it's an alternate press, or maybe your thumbs come in and your thumbs want to give those muscles a massage. And then see if you can just reach a little bit higher onto your ribs and give a little tap there. And from the middle more to the outside, so towards the sides of your body. And there's a vibration that happens there. Imagine all those bones vibrating. And as you exhale, see if you can make a sound with the exhale. So allowing it to be a a movement for letting go of anything that you might be holding onto in the ribs and underneath that. I can feel it's generating some warmth, releasing some kind of energy. Okay, it's a bit of an awkward position for your hands, so just letting your hands rest down. And again, feeling the release of the energy, maybe warmth or tingling or relaxation. And we're going to come down onto our back again and just move this area of our body, so our lumbar area. So come, lay on your back with your knees bent. And first of all, just take your hands, make them into a fist, and lift up your back, and see if you can rest your back onto your fists and bring your hip bones back onto the floor. So you've got like two fists underneath your back, and you're resting the muscles onto it, and that's already giving a feeling of massage, a slight pressure. It might be that you can turn your fists thumbs upwards, so you can just make them a little bit bigger, and you can again just dropping your hips down to the floor if that works. Doing what feels comfortable and safe for you. And if you've done the tennis ball workshop with me, then you know that sometimes we put the 2 tennis balls underneath here to give our back like a shiatsu with the pressure from the tennis balls to relax the muscles. Okay, now lifting up your hips, take your arms away, give your hands a shake. And we've made that shape now with our back. We're going to bend our back away from the floor. So you dig your hips into the floor and you dig your elbows into the floor so that you feel your lower back or your lumbar part of your back arching away from the floor. So without your hands underneath, it's just lifting. And we perhaps should have done a test before and after that we massaged it, if we could feel the difference. So we're just holding it there, and then we're going to exhale and release it and just feel how far it was lifted away from the floor and what it feels like to rest it down again. Take a couple of breaths. It's quite an intense stretch. We're going to do that again. We're going to inhale and exhale. Make this arch underneath the back. If you need to reorganize your hips, go ahead and do that. And just breathing into that area. If there's any tightness, any stretch, just breathing into that area. Not going into any area that's painful. If it's painful, then really back off until you reach the edge where it's maybe challenging but not painful. And then release it down again. Great. And then lift your hips off the floor and just rock them from side to side just to connect them again with that arch in the back. Okay, and then release your hips down to the ground again. And let's roll over. Let's come onto our front and we'll practice the Sphinx posture, which is also using the same area of the back. And as we've done lots of lovely massage on it, it could feel quite a comfortable posture. So we come down, lay on our front, and just rest there for a moment. Turn your head to the side. And then maybe with your feet together, bring your forearms onto the ground. So the forearms are splitting into a place where I know that you can see me. Forearms are flat on the ground and the hands are spread, so the fingers are open. And you could relax your head towards the ground, although not at an angle. Your back of your head's an extension of your spine. And from here we're going to inhale, and as we exhale we're just going to lift up away from the floor until we can feel it here. And at that point we pause, we breathe, we watch what's happening. And then let's lower our front back down to the floor. Just turn our head for a moment. You can keep your hands in the same position. And then we're going to come up again. So bring your chin into the middle. Adjust your arms so that your elbows and your hands are on the floor. And lifting up. So looking ahead in front of you, about like half the length of the mat. It brings your head into the right length, the right extension of your spine. And the movement that you could suggest to your body is that your shoulder blades are going in the direction of your heels. And if you just imagine that, does it give you that extra bit of lift? Perhaps stretching out through the abdomen as well, through the belly. Can you find those long, slow, deep yogic breaths? And then exhaling down, turn your head to the side, let your arms come down to your side and just relax into the ground. And then taking your lower legs away from the floor and just bend at your knees and rock your lower legs from side to side, like windscreen wipers. Just releasing your lower back. And then let your legs come back down to the ground. Hands underneath your shoulders. Press yourself back up. And we're going to come into the child pose. So I might suggest your knees being wider apart, just to give yourself lots of space. And so we're counter stretching this area now. We're rounding it. We're saying, yeah, we know we've stretched you one way. We're just going to let you stretch the other way so that you can come back to somewhere in the middle, balance. So forehead comes onto the ground, hips to the heels, and then bring your hands under your shoulders. Lift yourself back up to sitting. Okay, and then come sitting, find yourself comfortable. We're going to do a mudra, so a hand gesture with, and we'll breathe into that. And I'm just wondering, we can perhaps talk about it afterwards, but I was just thinking that yoga doesn't have to be about tying yourself in knots. We're very much sensing into the body, but I think really feeling very subtle changes in energy, stretching and opening, just from some very mindful movement and awareness. So the mudra that I wanted to practice is called the shell mudra, like a conch shell. If you're agitated or just need to settle, balance your energies. It's a very calming mudra. Mudra is a hand gesture, and it means knot, so it means that there's a closure of the energy in our body, so our hands are together, so there's no space in between. And just the fingers and the hands, there's lots of acupressure points there and energy channels, so it can really influence lots of different things, symptoms in our body. So the way that we do that, we take our left thumb and we grab it with our other hand, yeah, and then we close it towards our left hand, so we close that other hand on top. I'm trying to show you how it looks, so it looks a bit like that. So we grabbed our thumb, we wrap that hand around, and then we bring the right thumb, so the one that's not being grabbed, and we just place that onto the top of the opposite finger. So I'm just going to bring it a little bit nearer. So this thumb then comes and just rests on these fingers that are sticking up here, and that's the conch shell. That's how it looks. Yeah, you got it. It doesn't have to be perfect. That feeling of just encircling your thumb is going to give you enough feeling of like just closeness of all of the fingers. Okay, so when you've got that, just finding a position where you can be comfortable, perhaps holding it in front of your heart. Okay, so it's really great for clearing the throat. And it brings us to a quiet place. And I think what we'll do is just allow ourselves to breathe into this mudra. So just holding our hands together, bringing your awareness onto your breathing. Using it as a meditation. So your breathing doesn't have to be any particular pattern or strength. Just breathe, noticing the breath in and the breath out. We're just noticing if you get distracted, if you start to think about something else. And then without any judgment, just drawing yourself back to the flow of breath. Although your hands are being held, making sure that they're in a relaxed position, that you're not contracting anywhere, that they're not holding tension, so as relaxed as possible whilst keeping the contact. So just beginning to loosen your grip on your hands. And let the hands come and rest down wherever feels comfortable. And notice if you can feel any effects of that mudra and the breathing. Is it something that you might want to practice? The conch mudra, or the shank mudra it's called. And then slowly opening your eyes. And these mudras, they can be practiced like for about 3 minutes up to 10 minutes. And you can repeat them during the day. You can repeat them as often as possible. There's lots of mudras for different symptoms, illnesses, energy channels. So we tend to practice different ones. So what I'm going to want to do now is it's a few minutes of relaxation, and I'm just wondering, I didn't ask you, but whether you've got a chair. We could just ease our lower back as we've done such quite a lot of work with that, and I just want to show you. So just wave your hand if you've got a chair handy. Yeah, good. Okay, so this is what we do. We come up to this, and it can be any kind of a chair. The sofa is okay, but it's usually a bit low. Side of the bed's usually a bit high. We come up to the side of the chair and we swing our legs around and we bring our lower legs onto the chair, and then hopefully our back onto something soft, onto your yoga mat, and push the chair away until it's in a comfortable place. So maybe your upper legs are vertical and your lower legs are horizontal. And then just let go into that. Okay, so we've been working on our lumbar spine, and this is a lovely way then to just give it a little bit more soothing, a bit more massage. And just taking your time there to let your back sink towards the ground. Perhaps your hands resting on your belly. And a feeling of almost storing up all the energy that we've released with the movement, with the massage, with the breath. Taking this time for yourself. Really nice if you've got any back issues, if you've been in the garden working and you've got a strain in your back. It's also stretching out that area underneath your sacrum. So maybe for sciatica, it's a gentle stretch. You'd have to feed back to me if this feels that it's not too much stretch around the sciatic nerve, sciatic area. So to come out, bend your knees in towards your chest and see if you can roll yourself over onto your side. Just pause there for a moment. And then very slowly bringing yourself back up to sitting. Okay, and notice how we're feeling. Let's end there and then I'll just open it up for a chat. So just joining your hands together in front of your heart and just bowing your head below your heart as a big sign of thank you to yourself for coming to practice together today. And namaste.